there's this real interesting shift that we're seeing in the labor pool where some of the stuff that before was kind of looked down on and thought of as, not great work is actually turning out to be, some of the most advanced and interesting and innovative work that we're seeing right now. The factors of production. We're talking about labor, knowledge, entrepreneurship, capital, land. These are all factors of production. And what we mean by that is these are the primary uses or the primary assets of a company that they use in order to make a product or sell. An example of land is like a golf course, right? So you need to have land. That is the primary factor of production. People are paying to walk on the golf course. So you manage the land, and the land is producing, that availability for you to provide that product, or in this case, a service. So those are kind of that's a quick example of a factor of production. So we're talking about labor, knowledge, entrepreneurship, and Eric brought up a really interesting point. He said, we're seeing a lot less labor because we're seeing all this robotic manufacturing. So you think about like maybe a car manufacturing, where before it'd be like a welder that leans over and welds a door onto a car frame or something like that. And now we have these robots that are, doing that part. So that labor has gone away. It's interesting because we're actually seeing a shift. So this is a new trend that we're seeing. That idea that, that labor person goes away because we now have a robot. What you are missing in that equation is that now we have kind of a knowledge worker. So you need somebody who can program that machine to weld. You need someone who can write code to design the shape and the dimensions and plug it into the machine. And then you also have you still have labor in terms of people that can repair that stuff. So in another area of mine, I'm actually finding that one of the areas that we're finding is welding, of all things, is becoming huge issue because we're losing a lot of the supply of welders. A lot of people that know how to weld are stepping out of that work, they're retiring, or they're quitting, or one reason or another. We don't have as many welders as we did 20 years ago. And we're seeing this trend moving pretty rapidly. Now, I think there's a couple things happening here. We've been told, and it's been kind of one of those things, work smarter, not harder, and get an education so you don't have to do this, do menial work or whatever. These kind of ideas have been something that has been pushed into, I know in my generation was pushed, and I think in the next generation, they're similar kind of thing, work smart, not hard, or work hard and smart, or something like that. And you get this idea that, using a welding torch is like not a clever job or, something you could be proud of. What we're finding is that, there's going to be this huge influx of supply and demand. There's less welders, so they're going to be able to charge, a much higher premium. And even if it's this robotic stuff, you still need to know how to weld and know how to program it. And so, there are, computer welders, but, that this whole area is actually kind of this weird combination of labor and knowledge that I think is really growing. And that's part of what we're seeing in our economy is we're pushing to have more manufacturing, and we're saying it's not the same kind of manufacturing. It's like smart manufacturing, We're also finding businesses are doing real small batches. People are liking to buy local. Businesses are deliberately trying to stay small and profitable. And so, there's this real interesting shift that we're seeing in the labor pool where some of the stuff that before was kind of looked down on and thought of as, not great work, is actually turning out to be, some of the most advanced and interesting and innovative work that we're seeing right now.